How do we know if information is trustworthy or not? You see, we often decide whether a source is reliable depending on whether its information agrees or disagrees with our own opinion on the topic. And that's not a very good criteria. In fact, that criteria actually contributes to something called confirmation bias. It's actually very detrimental to us. But we'll get more into confirmation bias when we cover the perception process later in the semester. Instead, the point of this video is to give us a new criteria to determine whether a source is reliable or unreliable. Let me introduce the CRAAP test. CRAAP in this instance is spelled C-R-A-A-P, and it's actually an acronym for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. So let's start with currency. Immediately we might ask, is the information current? And the answer will be, well, did it come out in the last 5 to 10 years? But I want to give us a more specific question. Is the information current to the topic? Because there's a difference. And I'll give you 2 different examples. If my topic is World War II, then information that came out in the last 5 to 10 years might be good. But you know what information might be even more current? Well, information that was gathered and came out in the mid-1930s through the 1940s and even into the early 1950s. Why? Well, that's the time period that led into World War II, when World War II actually happened, and then the time period leading out of World War II. And so those sources might be even more current than sources that came out in the last 5 to 10 years. I'll give you a second example. If my topic is the latest social media trends, right? Suddenly, sources that came out about social media trends 5 years ago might not be so current. Why? Well, because social media is constantly evolving, right? Trends are changing rapidly. And so we're going to need to look for some information that came out in the last maybe 6 months, right? Or maybe even the last couple of months, if possible. Okay? Next is relevance. And this is pretty simple. Will the audience easily see how this information is relevant to the topic? And if not, can you easily explain its relevance to your topic? And if the answer to either one of those is yes, then great, we can move on to authority. Does the author have credentials in this area? For example, do they work in this field? Are they held in high esteem on this topic? Or do they have academic degrees in this area, such as a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or even a PhD? If the answer to any one of these is yes, right, then they're probably an authority on the topic. I think it's also important to know that just because someone's not considered an authority on a topic doesn't mean that they can't make a valid argument or produce good research within a specific topic. It just means that we don't necessarily want to use them as one of our primary sources. The second A stands for accuracy. Is the information accurate? How are we going to determine this? Well, a couple different ways. We're going to look around at multiple sources. And we're going to see, do other sources back up the information that I found in this source? If so, that's a good sign. Are there multiple other sources that actually contest this information? If so, that's probably a bad sign, right? Maybe it's debatable, right? Maybe it's not factual. Maybe it's not considered 100% accurate, right? And maybe you're coming across some sort of study that's new on a specific topic, and there's not a lot of information out there about this specific topic. Well, then we're going to need to look into the methodology of the actual study. Was it a blind study or a double-blind study? If so, great. That's a really good sign. Was there bias in their instrumentation? What does that mean? Well, was there bias in the way that they collected their data? Right? Those are the things we're looking for when it comes to actually telling whether a study was done well or not. Next, we can move on to the purpose. Why is this person or organization giving me this information? Is this a company using this information to sell me something? If so, we probably don't want to use it as a primary source. Is this a group advocating for a specific cause? If so, again, I caution you from using that as a primary source. Why? Well, in both of those examples, those people aren't going to give you information that leads you away from buying their product or away from supporting their cause. right? And that's a level of bias that we can't be okay with when it comes to actually using organization as one of our primary sources. Instead, what we're looking for is someone conducting research out of curiosity. A good definition that I've heard for curiosity is being interested in the outcome without having a vested interest in it. What does that mean? Well, it means we actually benefit equally from any results of a specific study. So that's what we're looking for. Someone who's conducting research simply out of curiosity because they want to get to the truth. So the CRAAP test, currency, right? Is the information current to the topic? Relevance, can you easily explain the relevance of this information to your topic? Authority, does the author have credentials in this area? Accuracy, is this information backed up by multiple other sources? Purpose, is this information coming from somebody who's curious about the topic?